And now we're on to the next step with the Mini Cooper sign. This is the backing board where we're going to mount everything. The white that's on here, I started working on it, is a microballoon mixture with the putty, once again. And what we got to do is spread this onto the fiberglass that's already been put on here so that you can fill the weave of the cloth. Once this is dry, then it can be sanded down. It'll be sanded down smooth. And then another layer of putty will be put down to fill any voids, any low spots, high spots, and get it prepped for paint. So I've started this piece and most of the other pieces, but I want to show you how this goes on. Let me roll this around where I can get at it. So we're going to take the microballoon mixture. I'm going to move some stuff here. There we go. The microballoon mixture, and all we gotta do is take it and take a dab of it here, and we're gonna just spread it on here. And I'll take a squeegee here. I got a squeegee. Looks like a piece of cheese, but it's just a plastic squeegee. I'm gonna take this and spread this out. Try to get it as thin as you can, but still try to fill the weave that's in the fiberglass cloth. And again, this doesn't have to be anything real fussy at this point, simply because we're going to be sanding this thing down and getting it a lot smoother. But we don't want to put on so much that it's just going to be wasted when you start sanding it. There we go. Tough thing is in these tight corners. There we go. So I work it down. Get another dab here. There we go. And cover all these edges. The back I'm not concerned with because you're not going to see that. There's no reason to do any of that. We can sand it down so it's halfway smoother when you handle the sign and put it up. Yeah. And there you go. You can see it's very much like what I've just done. We're going to continue on here. I didn't finish this portion of the sign simply because you get this and it's all wet, and when you handle it you could get it all over yourself and it's a real chore. So it's just simpler to coat this in several different steps. There we go. Bring it around. And it takes a couple days for this to cure. I mean, it's dry within a day, but it's not dry enough to sand on. When you sand this stuff out, it'll look like, it'll come off of this piece like powder. And if it doesn't come off like that, you know it's not dry enough to work it down to sand it smooth for finishing for paint. So we'll wrap this around. Again, we don't have to get real fussy with this. And we'll turn it around here. And that looks pretty good right there. So that's about it for this step. All the other pieces, I've got another piece here, let me grab. This is the center section with the fingers. This has all been glassed and puttied. This is ready for sanding, and it looks really rough right now. And again, I've always said it's got to look ugly before it gets pretty. This will all be sanded out to get it down smooth, and then go over it again with another coat of this microballoon mixture, and get it as smooth as you possibly can. And then from there, we're going to go into priming and sanding and priming and sanding, wet sanding the parts out, and then getting into paint, where we can finally paint the parts and look at assembly of the parts. So this is where we're at with this step. I'll finish up these guys here, and then we'll go ahead to, again, it's to sand these parts out. You'll hand sand them. That's the tough. This is where the work is in fiberglassing, to do all the sanding. That's what, at least it is for me. To do this puttying, this isn't too bad. Even I like to laying the glass down, but doing the sanding for me is the tough work, because now you're getting into the real intricate finishing work to get a nice finish for the finished product that you're going to build, or the project you're going to build. So I'll finish up with this, and then we'll move on to the next step. Well, after quite a few hours of sanding and prepping, I've got this part done, and some of the other parts sanded down. You can see that it's kind of a gray and white here now, because I've primed it and sanded it and primed it and sanded it. Here you can see the white on top. What I did here, one of the fingers here, this finger here and this finger down here on this piece, were too thin. So with the putty mixture that I've been using, I laid in a layer of putty in here and let it dry for a couple days and sanded it, and then layered another layer down and sanded it to get it up to the same thickness as this, so everything is symmetrical from side to side. So the next step here, again, is I want to prime this again, and then I'll wet sand it. This has been wet sanded once already, but it's real close to being ready for paint. And then I have to start working on the other pieces that mate into this. There's a ring here. Let me grab it here a second. It's on the table. This ring slides in here like this. This ring slides in here. And there's another inner ring and then another inner piece. Well, these can slide in right now. I can get them to slide in. But it's not been fiberglassed yet. So I have to sand these down so they're really loose. And then I'll fiberglass them so that they slide in just like I do here right now, to where they'll drop right in without any problems. Because it's all got to be painted and let dried and then assembled. And if it's too tight, you're going to be fighting, and I'll end up messing up the paint. So the next step, we're going to go ahead and prime this again, and hopefully very shortly I'll be able to get these sanded down and prep for paint, and work on the final assembly. This has been sanded and primed probably 4 or 5 times, at least that. What it does, you prime it and start sanding on it, and you'll see the low spots and the high spots, and it gets smoother and smoother. And you get into wet sanding, it's real fine, real smooth looking and feeling, and so then your paint will look really, really nice. So let me, we'll go with that and go on to the next step and keep going. To better show you how I did the painting of these parts, it was just simpler for me to show you the photographs of it, because it was just too difficult to shoot video and paint at the same time, and simply too boring to watch me spray paint. So anyway, here are some of the first parts that I painted. It was the base piece here that you've seen so far, and one of the S's, and part of the S I should say, and one of the rings that was painted chrome aluminum. These have turned out very well, and as you can see from these photographs. Here's the part of the S, and this part, as you see it right here, is dry. The paint is dry. So all the sanding and prep work that I did to get this part ready for paint really shows off here now. It's worthwhile to take that effort to make your part as smooth as possible, to get a smooth reflection and color that you see here. Here's the base piece that's been spray painted black. Again, this part is dry in this photograph. This portion of the part was not painted. Simply it's going to be covered up by the center piece. Here's another shot of it, another angle of it. And here's a good view of the parts coming together in different stages. The pieces in pink here have been fiberglassed, and here I just did a fit up and then just give an idea what it looks like laid out. And then here the ring with the fingers on it has been primed and just about ready for paint. The blue on the sign here, all this blue tape here, just little markers that I set in so I could show remind myself to where this needs a correction there or here, adds a little putty or a little sanding. So it's just a marker. And then you go in closer. This gives you a good idea what the weave looks like on the fiberglass cloth. This center section was glassed all in one piece. The only reason you see this white streak in here is simply because there was a void in the foam, and that was puttied first and then glassed over the top. And then the chrome ring. I was checking the fit up on these parts at this point. So here goes another shot. That one's a little fuzzy. Here's the ring again, with the fingers. This has been primed, and the primer's still wet here. Normally primer, when it gets dry, it goes gray and it's flat colored. But all the white that I put on to even out these fingers, this one to that one and that one to that one, now it blends in very nicely, and so it gives a nice uniform shape. But this was ready for sanding and ready for to be painted very close to it. Again, it's pretty wet here at this point. Here's some of the parts of the S. Again, were painted, and one of the inner rings, another ring, and then this was the center piece that I just showed you where it was the weave. This is where the Mini Cooper name would be put on. It's the dome piece that was cut. And look at the gloss on that. That's just a nice gloss. This paint, again, is dry. Look at the reflections here. So this really pays off to take the time to sand this down and get it super, super smooth. Another ring. This was the other ring that was cut with the dome piece, and it was glassed and then sprayed was gloss black. Again, that piece there, the base piece. And again, another good shot. Look at the reflections here. That's just a beautiful, beautiful piece. Turned out very well. Here's a layout here of the again with the ring with the fingers on it, and that's ready for paint, just about ready for paint. A couple little spots here and there that need to be sanded down with this picture at this point. Here's the ring after it's been painted, chrome aluminum. And it looks almost metal there. It turned out very well. Very, very pretty part. And nice finished part. Again, this is where all the prep work for the sanding and to get it ready for paint really, really pays off. After a lot of sanding and priming and sanding and priming and sanding and priming of the parts to get them smooth enough, I was able to finally get all these parts painted, and we're going to get into the assembly here now. As you can see here, this is the base piece, and you get a nice gloss on it. The center section here, you can see it's dull, but that I left that way simply because it's going to be covered up from the sign. And I'll show you the center section with all the rings I had originally. This is how it all turned out. This is painted with a paint called chrome aluminum, and I had to take the inside and bond it together so that it all slid together, but it turned out very nice. What has to be put on here is the Mini Cooper name, just Mini across it, and we'll set that up. I think we'll set that up first, and then we'll get this all put together. This gets set in right in here, and then we've got the parts for the S. Let me grab one of these here. This is one of the S's. Look at the nice gloss on that. That turned out really nice. But a lot of work to get these parts smoothed down enough for paint. And that's where your labor is in any fiberglass project, to do the sanding and priming and wet sanding to get it a nice smooth finish on it. So we'll go ahead and I'll shift the camera around here so you can see the whole process being put together. And this gets glued together with the microballoon mixture, which I've used throughout the whole project. I'll make a putty, and we'll put several dabs on this black piece and then put the center section in. But I think we'll put the letters on first, and right behind me here is a little laser level. And again, you don't need to use a laser level. I just happen to have one handy in the shop. That'll keep everything lined up so I get the wording spaced out and lined up correctly on the sign. It could be done just as easily with some pinstriping tape to situate the letters the way I wanted. But since I had it out, I thought I might as well use it. So let me go ahead and switch the camera here a little bit and get it so that you can see pretty much all the table. And then we'll go ahead and build it and finally get done with this project. we go. That looks pretty good. Yeah. There you go. There's Minnie. All right. There you go.